Hello. It's been a while. I started. I decided to start it off with something that I've implemented in my homebrew 5e campaign, where I've gotten tired of doing, tracking expenses and basically keeping track of all the gold and items and how much they're worth and looking it up, either off game or in game. So I decided to do something, you know, that I thought was easier. Something from I kind of got inspired from the Call of Cthulhu mechanics credit system, and so I implemented this for my 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and maybe you'll find some of it useful. If not, well, just skip over it. These are the topics that I'm going to cover. Lifestyle expenses, financial conditions, new player characters, item rarity levels, wealth bonuses, credit DCs and item rarity, credit being fluid, gaining wealth bonuses, individual credit versus group credit, and a scenario to kind of walk you through how I do it in game. So according to the player handbook, page 157, these are the lifestyle expenses: wretched, squalid, poor, modest, comfortable, wealthy, and aristocratic. Most of the time, in games I've played and run in the past, a lot of this gets hand-waved through. But in order to run a credit system, you kind of have to understand this a little bit better. I think this leads to more exciting shopping experiences and montages. Kind of gives a more sense of urgency and agency for each player. Again, on page 157 of the player's handbook, there's financial conditions. So the financial conditions, you would think, line up pretty well with lifestyle expenses, but some of the wording has changed. You can see here on this table that I kind of lined them up just to kind of simplify things as we go further on. So this is just a suggestion, a matrix table that I put together. It mostly kind of lines up with how I feel the flavor text of each character background was written out. Ultimately, it's going to be up to the DM and the player kind of talk about how the player's background, the backstory for that particular player. And so, so this is the table I came up with for character background against financial conditions starting. So Acolyte would be struggling, a charlatan would be struggling, a criminal would be impoverished, an entertainer would probably be struggling, a folk hero may be middle class, a guild artisan, again, maybe middle class, a hermit, probably impoverished, a noble, up to very rich, an outlander, probably up to struggling, a sage, maybe middle class, a sailor, again, maybe middle class, maybe more, depending on what their rank was. Again, this is all dependent on their backstory. A soldier, again, up to rich, depending on what their backstory is, and an urchin, probably impoverished. So wealth bonuses. This is something that I've implemented just to help balance and mechanically derive the credit rating. So financial conditions versus lifestyle expenses gives you the wealth bonus, or kind of is where I derive the wealth bonus from. So wretched, you would have a minus 15. Impoverished, your lifestyle expenses would be squalid, and I give you a minus 10. Struggling, poor lifestyle expenses, minus 5. Middle class would be modest, plus 0. And you can see plus 5 for comfortable and affluent, plus 10 for wealthy, plus 15 for aristocratic or very wealthy financial conditions. This kind of it seems really difficult, but in a way this really kind of lines up with character building and more realistic, and I think gives a better quality experience when it comes to really role playing out those shopping moments where it's like, say a character is living on the streets. They're not going to be the most approachable person. How often do each of us in our day-to-day maybe hand out money to somebody who's living in squalid conditions? We'd like to think we all do, but be honest with yourselves, probably less likely to do that if somebody's panhandling on the side of the road. Again, when somebody who's living in squalid or wretched, impoverished or wretched, conditions, they walk into a store, you could automatically, point out, okay, this person looks like they're a beggar. and so that's where these wealth bonuses kind of kick in, where it's like a negative. It's a huge detriment to that individual, and I think it's important to have that agency for that player to kind of put themselves into that other person's perspective of how difficult life would be. So credit DC to item rarity levels. So these are from the book. These are the different rarities for different items, from common to wondrous. And so common items would be, maybe relatively easy for depending on what your lifestyle expenses and financial conditions would be. But there's the DCs there. Common would be 5 up. Uncommon would be 10 up. Rare 15 up. Very rare 20. Legendary 25 up. And wondrous would be 30 up. So credit is fluid. Here's kind of a really brief example of how things would work in one of my games. So parties successfully makes a purchase against a credit DC that is above their base lifestyle expenses. Their wealth bonus automatically decreases by 1 plus 1 for each level above the group's wealth bonus level. So basically, let's say the wealth bonus for the group is +0. They're middle of the road, moderate living expenses. I give them a miscellaneous bonus. Maybe they haggle, or maybe they charm the shop vendor. Let's say the item rarity is a DC of 10. Group rolls a DC of 10 plus their bonus for a total of 12, and that purchase is successful based on just their credit bonus. But that means that the group's wealth bonus drops by 2, so that future purchases against their credit would be slightly more difficult unless they go out and accumulate more wealth or items. Gaining wealth bonus. As the party adventures, roughly for every 100 gold pieces or for every item rarity above their lifestyle expenses that they find, I increase their wealth bonus by 1. So that way, I only have to keep track of roughly how much gold they're getting, roughly, and what sort of items they find. Individual credit versus group credit is just as it sounds. If, say, an individual player character is out doing shopping, you're going to use that player's individual wealth bonus. Whereas if the group is going shopping all together, you can use the cumulative group credit bonus or use the highest individual wealth bonus of the group. So if you have a wide range of player characters, one of them is, impoverished hermit, and one of them is a former noble. The former noble would probably have a higher individual wealth bonus. So if that individual wanted to make the purchase based on their credit, you could do that. Or if the cumulative group credit bonus or wealth bonus is higher, you would use that. Whichever is higher, or whichever role play works out more flavor wise. So here's a basic scenario that kind of popped up for us in our group. So basic scenario: you got a newly formed group, and they've just finished their first adventure. They approach a small city and decide they want to go shopping. Now they're specifically looking for an amulet of health, which is a rare item. Now, as the DM, you've been keeping track of the group's financial conditions, or maybe someone in the group one of the players or player characters have been keeping track of the group's financial conditions. And you've determined that the group is on the cusp of middle class. The rogue eventually finds the merchant with the item that they're looking for. The rogue decides that she wants to haggle and is successful. So you give her +2 to their +0 wealth bonus, which is found on the wealth bonus table. The item is rare and has a DC of 15. The rogue rolls a 13 plus her bonus of +2, so the total is 15. The party gains or successfully purchases the amulet of health. However, because the item rarity is 1 level above the group's lifestyle expenses, the group wealth bonus drops by 2. So now the group's wealth bonus is -2. So in order to raise that wealth bonus back up, they can do that by adventuring or off time activities, gambling, entertaining, working, and for every 100 gold they earn, you would increase that. Now that's kind of dependent on what sort of game you're running. Maybe it's harder to make money, so you might need to adjust. You'll have to feel it out a little bit. This is just a guideline for how I do things, and as the DM, you can do it however you like. This is just bare bones, and you can take it how you feel you can apply it. Pick from here and there, and see what works for you. Hopefully you found some of this interesting and useful, and I look forward to making some more of these as I go. In the past, I did a quick little slideshow of how to convert or set up a game, a Pathfinder, what was it, Legacy of Fire for 5th edition. I'm working on one for setting up or converting Curse of the Crimson Throne Pathfinder Adventure Path to 5e as well. With all this stuff that's happening, see how well that works. I might just throw it out there as Pathfinder 2nd edition. I don't know yet. You tell me what you like to see. Yeah. If you have any questions, mention it down in the comments. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Let me know that y'all are liking this. So it kind of motivates me to do more. All right, well, thanks, and bye for now.